Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Finally, senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. Thumbs up for that. Well, it is indeed a brand new day. I made a post earlier about the walkthrough that was supposed to be going on today. And you may notice I said was supposed to. Wednesday, they put up a sheet of paper saying that we're going to be doing a walkthrough on Friday because they didn't say this part. We know this part because these cottages that they have, there's 4 apartments in each cottage, and these were basically Habitat for Humanity, can be put together by volunteer kits. And so that you're provided with the stuff, you just sort of snap tight a lot of the things together. You know, there's drywall, then you got to put the paint on the drywall, but you know, it's not hard. It doesn't need professional builders. You can get it done with volunteer, not know-nothings. You have to have knowledge, but it's kind of kit-like. Unfortunately, a lot of the little things that were done are not done quite right. The bathroom doors are slide into the wall things. They don't swing on hinges. You just open it into and it slides into the wall, pull it open and it slides out. Well, they didn't put the screws on up above correctly, and they can fall out, which means the door can come loose. And when I open mine and it slides into the wall, I can hear it go grind, grind, grind up in here. So it's going to need work at some point. And now the curtains here were apparently put in such a way that I would say they were probably screwed into the drywall, possibly not into the studs. So they can fall out of the wall. Now mine, I haven't done a thing with them because I've got all my curtains taped. They've just been, I don't use them. So I've got to get, it's not a big deal here, but it still has to be checked. Now, my bed is in such a place against the wall with this curtain here. That means I have to have the bed pulled out from the wall so that the guy can get up to here to check the screws. But if you've seen my table set up here, I have 2 tables that are right there. And the one table holds a monitor, so these are cheap Walmart tables, and to make sure it doesn't break by having a big weight in the middle, because these are fold-up travel type things, I've got a shower curtain underneath it, so that weight comes down on the shower curtain instead of the joints that would, you know, in the middle of the table. And there's a fold-out shelf from a thing that goes on the wall where I have a monitor on that. And since I don't want that to break, I have another one of those shower curtains to take that weight. That shower curtain has the table with its shower curtain up against it. So that table gets banged, this gets knocked over too. And it's like, ah! So I just want to be here when they are here so I can be paranoid and anxious while things are being checked. And hopefully just to make sure that I can minimize any damage and banging on those things. Now for my bed, that means I'm going to have to move it that direction and then that direction so that it can be moved so that there's more space. But that's an iffy maybe thing. And then the wall where I have the twinkly lights on the shower curtains, on the curtains, I have a table that I hold my junk on with underneath it in plastic buckets all my solo RPG stuff, which I'll have to move it when it comes time, because of course he needs to be able to get in there. So it's just a hassle, stuff that I can't, you know, avoid having to have done just because of the way the room is. Now you may remember, and I'm having trouble remembering, I did say was supposed to. Well, at about 10 o'clock, 10:15ish, I wandered into the building to find out when it was going to be going on. And he told me, oh yeah, the guy who's supposed to be doing it has a medical thing. Yeah, it's going to be at least a week. Well, that would have been nice to know. So my day has been all torn up for no good reason. I mean, I'm semi-glad I got some of this stuff done. I swept and stuff like that. And I just finished getting all of my solo board game stuff what is the word? Reshuffled up inside of the shelf so that it's all in a much different position than it was, which I've got a spot of the papers that I've had, which is in a box because it's maps and stuff like that. So I got blank paper. Well, not blank, it's got like hexes on it. So it's all right there. That used to fit up there, and it doesn't anymore. So I need to find a new place for it. Oh boy. Thumbs up. But yeah, I, unfortunately, with my neurodiversity, I cling really, really hard to schedule, habit, and routine. And it doesn't matter what the change is. If there's an interruption in that, I get nervous and anxious. I'm pacing. And it could be as simple as I need to make another trip down to the store. That's an interruption in schedule. I didn't plan on making a trip in the middle of the day for no good reason. That can be an interruption, but it's because it's instantaneous. I don't have that time to think about it, especially. But other type changes, when I have over a day to think about them, oh boy. Such is life, though. I mean, I am a human being. I can get through it. I have, of course, gone through worse, after all, going homeless, even though it was only... I mean, I was for a month and some living in a homeless vet shelter in Port Orchard, Washington, but, you know, for the couple, like 3 days that I didn't have a home, that was no fun. A nice interruption in schedule. So I can live through these things. Yay. But past that, not much has been going on. It has still been cold and wet and awful. I honestly, at this point, cannot remember if I went out for a second walkies last night. My memory is such that morning time feels like yesterday, and it's as hard to remember. Actual yesterday, I can get conflated with 3 and 4 days ago. So I honestly cannot remember at this point. So, oh boy. Still though, I have been at least trying to survive. I've been playing, computer games that I can on my computer. I play, well, I think I meant to say I watch videos. I interact with my paper solo RPG stuff. I interact with my solo board game stuff. So, I mean, I do things, and that's good. I'm kind of in a bit of limbo. With my diversity as well, when I get hit with a stop sign, it is really, really hard for me to get going again. It's tied with my rejection sensitivity. And so when I hit troubles, they get treated as stop signs. Am I trying to order from CyberPower PC and then hitting that issue where it's got problems with my address? That hit me like a big old stop sign again. And it's been hard to get the momentum going. I am still, again, this close to looking at getting a Lenovo through Best Buy, but also I do want to try calling CyberPower PC, but if they can't ship to my address, if they say, well, you know, it has to go to this other address, not your apartment, then yeah, I'm going to be ordering, you know, like a Lenovo pre-built and having it sent to Best Buy, and then I pick it up there. I mean, that's a second option. And then there are, and I've seen these, they look pretty good, except the thing that I don't like about the mini PCs versus a pre-built is with a pre-built, if you want to change the graphics card or you want to change the hard drive, or, you know, solid state drive at this point, I guess you'd call most of them, you can. But with a mini PC, you might not even be able to get into it without destroying it. And I've seen some that look really nice. But again, it's unfortunately the integrated graphics. And those never work as well as the external graphics. So I like the look of a lot of that's a lot of L's. I like the way the mini PCs look. There have been some really good ones from like Geekom, and then Josh, starts with a, oh, if you're watching, I can't remember your last name, sent a link to a mini PC, trying to remember, and it looks good, but again, it's the whole, I mean, what are the odds I'm ever going to be able to upgrade anything? You know, both monetarily and, you know, ability-wise. Odds are pretty low, but I'd like to have the option available. So I'm still not sure. There's a handful of options, and I am not married to any one of them yet. Once that stop sign at the CyberPower PC option went up, I got choice paralysis again. And I'm holding my hands like this because I feel anxious even thinking about it. That's one of the things. I can't remember if I've ever mentioned this by the by, is you can tell what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling primarily by looking at me. You know, my body language is no surprise. If I don't like something, I mean, I draw like this as I'm talking about it. You know, if I'm talking about how, oh, I had to reach up on a shelf, I'm going like this and reaching up for the shelf. If I'm thinking thoughts where I'm going from happy to sad, you see it on my face. I cannot stop it. Now, if I'm neutral and I'm not thinking anything at all, I tend to look rather hostile. I have a very powerful resting bitch face. So there's that. Now, if I'm blank, if I have a blank face, that I'm shutting down because there's just way too much emotion and I do not know how to process it. So, thumbs up on that. Still though. Yeah, been working on the solo RPG stuff and all the other settings. There was more. Oh yes, there was more I was going to talk about. I wanted to remind, because I was thinking about it myself, just to remember these things, and I wanted to talk about it again with this one, because in my Cryptid setting, which is still part of the whole inside to outside setting, which is a part of the whole cosmic horror setting, which is a part of the multiverse setting. Oh, I got lost in the sauce there. No, there are like 12 different archetypes of cryptids, and one of those archetypes is created cryptid. And one of those created cryptids that I have come up with, because in this setting, all the cryptids that are in our world right now are in this setting, plus anything I can think of. But this one cryptid is an individual, name of Malik, was a created cryptid in that back in the 1800s, this lunatic sculptor was took on a secretive patron, but the patron was a I've forgotten the word, but an adherent, there were, because I remembered, an adherent of Kadiron, one of the cosmic horrors, and this influenced the sculptor, who went absolutely insane to the point they started using people as the sculpture parts, human beings as part of the canvas and part of the whole sculpture. And enough people were kidnapped of consequence that a PI was able to track stuff down, got the cops in, didn't invade, they went to the mansion of the sculptor, and as they were going through finding all the human bodies in these sculptured states, and then when they opened up this one spot because they could hear things, they found the sculptor with their grotesque mutated body. Because if you're an adherent of Kadiron, your body changes and you become rather monstrous. But they had kidnapped 12 people and had hung them by their ankles and collected their blood by slicing their throats, and all of the blood just drained naturally through gravity out into a big bucket where, with a ritual that he was performing as the cops were coming in, rained this blood down upon a sculpture. And then when the cops saw bodies, blood, monster, weapons, and then sculptor no longer alive. Well, the problem with that is this created thing. There was 3 parts of a ritual for it. The first part was to bring life, and that's what happened when the blood was cascading upon the sculpture. The second part was purpose, and the sculpture was supposed to go out and kill a whole bunch of people. And then the third part of the ritual was the release. Well, only the first one, life, came about. And the sculpture is waiting for part 2, purpose. Well, a couple years after 1 year after the sculptor was killed, Robert Jenki, they didn't know what to do with a whole bunch of non-human remains related sculptures, and they just sat in the open. And then on one day, it vanished after about a year. And for the next 100 years, the whole legend of the Jenki came up. This creature that went out in the Midwestern fields and would howl its anguish to the moon. And after 100 years, this actual thing gained sentience and sapience and called itself Malik. And the sculpture is, imagine one of those shipping the big old shipping crates, shipping cargo things. Gosh darn it, I know the word shipping, but I can't say the rest of it. That they put on the cargo ships. About half that length is a rough lattice work of bars. On each side of it is a centipede-like arrangement of deer legs welded on, going upward into a set of human arms on a human torso, and up at the top of that is the head, which is a gigantic stag skull, gigantic stag antlers. And this thing is alive. It came to life, was given life, and after 100 years gained sentience. It is Malik, and unfortunately Malik has to devour human beings 3 times a year, which is one of the big reasons the legend of the Jenki is still going and strong. But it's in the 1950s that Malik gained sentience. But what happens is when Malik has to eat, Malik has to go out and hunt and then eat someone. Because if Malik doesn't, well, the body is waiting for purpose. And so the body has to survive. So the body takes over. kicks Malik out of the driving seat, goes out hunting, finds someone, eats them. If Malik hunts someone and then decides not to eat the person that he's hunted, kicked out of the driver's seat, the body takes over, eats that person, then Malik can take over again. And unfortunately, being eaten is not a pleasant thing, because when Malik opens up his jaws wide, a trap door slides open in his throat. And when you're shoved in, you just slide through this like 3-foot tube where you fall into the shipping crate. That's the word, I think. And it's rough bars. You fall in. And some people, when they fall in head first, do break their necks when they land, so they can't feel what happens next, and that's a blessing. Because when you crash through, after about a minute, all these tendrils start coming out of the bars, and they latch onto you. And these tendrils have little chewing mouths on the end, and when they hit you, they dig in, and then they start drinking. And you could break them if you pull hard enough and tear, but then that end that's still attached, it closes off, and the other end that broke, it just forms into a new biting mouth and goes into attack. And eventually you aren't able to fight them off, and then eventually you aren't alive anymore. And for Malik, that's the worst part, because Malik was formed from the suffering of 12 victims. And to survive, Malik has to victimize. And this, Malik hates themselves, because when they eat someone and they fall into that area and the tendrils come out, the worst part isn't that they are dying. It's the shouts of anger that become screams of pain, that become shrieks of terror, that eventually become just the dying whimpers of a confused and beaten animal. Of course, after death, the digestive enzymes just take care of all the soft bits, and then the bones just fall out the bottom of the cage. But Malik screams as all this is happening, just as loud as those who are dying. And, poor Malik. But then the rest of it, it's even worse what happens later. But I'll have to tell you about that on another day. Because if you could like, comment, share, and subscribe, that would be awesome. As I wait till almost the end. Thumbs up and thank you if you could do any of that. And if you're a patron, you are beautiful and awesome. Thumbs up and thank you so very much. It is appreciated to no end. You take me from a hurting monkey to a slightly less hurting monkey, which in today's American society is about the best that we can hope for, and I appreciate that to no end. Thumbs up and thank you. You are beautiful and awesome. If you have left me a comment, you too are beautiful and awesome in your own way as well. I read every comment that YouTube shows me. I thumbs up or heart each one that YouTube allows, and I answer as many as my nerve compression will let me. It's not as many as I would like, but it's as many as I can do, so thumbs up. If you have watched this far, thumbs up. Thank you so very much. You are very much a beautiful and awesome person as well. And if you could write chili beans into the comments for a bit of blatant engagement farming to let both me and the YouTube algorithm know that people watch these videos and watch to the end, that would be very cool. Thumbs up and thank you. And for those of you that actually do this, you aren't required, but the fact that you do so, again, is greatly appreciated. Thumbs up and thank you so much. I am going to edit, render, upload. If I can remember any phone calls that I have to make, I'm going to try and make some of them. I'm going to go out for walkies again at some point, because I made a very short trip because of the weather over to Walmart and then back with some food to eat this morning, which I did eat. Thumbs up for that. So hopefully you can get done the things that you want to get done, and if you can't, please do not beat yourself up. It does not help you get it done better next time or at all, and it's just beating yourself up out of habit and you deserve better. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. And that is indeed a very, very good thing. I need to get some kind of oil because the skin on my thumbs is still splitting. This side's at least healed up, but it was as bad as here. And then, thank goodness, this cut from my scissors is almost healed. Yay! Anyway, though, no words of wisdom, just ow, ow, ow.